in any profession, no matter whether you're, a physicist or a doctor or an artist, musician, the only thing we have is our life experience, our own life. And so you have to learn to trust in yourself. I was always brought up to be very self-reliant. So as a young child, I would go door to door. I would sell gift wrapping paper. I'd sell ribbons, chocolates, cards, birthday cards, holiday cards. And so I was always brought up to be self-reliant. But I think at the basis of my artwork, the ideas of acceptance and the removal of judgment really begins at that time, because when I would go door to door as a child selling products, I would knock on somebody's door and I never knew what the person was going to look like that opened that door. And I didn't know if they were going to, be friendly or be stern, if they were going to invite me in. And if they did invite me in and they opened the door, what type of odor may come from within the house, what their furniture could look like, whether it was covered with plastic or whether it was an elegant environment. And so I think that the basis of acceptance and enjoying, realizing that life is really about people and coming to an understanding with people started at that time. I would say that my desire to at least articulate what I believe the context of my work is, that I created in. I know that, the viewer is going to recontextualize things, but I would like at least to take people to a certain vista, if I can, that they can understand my kind of motivations. But it would come from that, the understanding that you have only your own interests. I remember having an exhibition. It was my Banality Show in 1988. And the Banality Show was a huge success. And within, New York, people would tell me that it was really the largest exhibition since Roy Lichtenstein's show in 1963. And so at that time, I really kind of became somewhat as a known, recognized artist. I remember a journalist coming up to me and saying, Jeff, aren't you afraid it's going to leave you? And I thought, it's a very strange thing to ask a relatively young artist, I was probably only around that time 33, whether I was afraid that my ability to make works was going to leave me. So I thought about, what is it that you can do? And in any profession, no matter whether you're, a physicist or a doctor or an artist, musician, the only thing we have is our life experience, our own life. And so you have to learn to trust in yourself. I believe in some manner I was able to learn to trust in myself. And once you go inward, I enjoyed Dada, I enjoyed surrealism, I made my own work about the things I dreamt the night before. But I reached a certain point where I wanted to be much more involved with the world around me. And I felt like I was able to leave myself. I trusted myself. Last place I wanted to be now was just within myself. I wanted to go outward. And if you trust in yourself and you follow your interests, you don't want to follow somebody else's interests because they're not yours. So what could be more fun or enjoyable than following whatever it is that intrigues you? I mean, if it's butterflies, it's butterflies. If it's, if it's puppies or it's horses, or it could be antique works. But whatever you're interested in, to follow those interests and to focus on those interests. And if you do that, it's unfailing. It's like starting a car. Like if you think of an old antique car that would have like a rod that you would turn to have it start. You don't turn it and it doesn't do it, but you do it again. And before you know it, it does it. And it's like practicing that. Like if you go into your studio and whatever you're curious about at that moment, if you start to exercise, you take action towards those interests and you make a gesture, it may click, but if you just start another piece and before you know it, you're going to be in full gear. And if you stay in gear and focus on those interests very intensely, just continue to focus, it doesn't fail. It will connect you to this universal metaphysical vocabulary. And you're dealing with interests and archetypes and ideas that are very profound within all of us. That's all we can do. There's nothing else you can do. You can't just pull it out of thin air, but you can pull it out of your interests. Whenever I make something, usually what I make, I've already been thinking about for the last 2 years. And even though when I make it, that's kind of the final commitment that, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make that gesture. But there's kind of a period of letting things resonate and continuing to think about these areas, gathering more information about those areas. So I always have projects that are kind of ongoing, that I'm curious about, that I've been thinking about executing. Sometimes I've already designed something and it's ready to go, but there's not the opportunity. The sculpture train is one. I believe that it's going to be made at least very soon. And there are also works, even within this series. I've designed already probably about 15, 20 works that I'll continue to make within these kind of multiple gazing balls. But I've been carrying that information with me for quite some time. And so there are works that have meaning to me. I think that every artist, there's kind of archetypes or things that they like to work with, things that they find meaning in, whether it's flowers or a sense of their relationship with nature or with the body, and that you always kind of return to those certain themes, and your works can, come out and look very, very different than the ones you made before. But if you go back to the basis of those works, it still comes out of those kind of original seeds or original germs of those ideas. The art world is, it's generational. It continues from one generation to another, and it's about kind of a sense of an obligation that we have amongst ourselves with each other to share the benefits of art and to help people come into contact with the ability to change, to become, to educate oneself, and therefore we can educate others.